Hi everybody, welcome to School of Scarlett. Today I have another message for you. Today's message is about the game of life. So you have maybe heard that this reality is like a simulation. Like this reality is like a video game. And I'm going to be going very deep into explaining this to you here today. So stay tuned to the very end so that you can gain a good understanding of this. You may have probably not heard of many of these different aspects. So stay with me. So today I want to kind of talk about the different layers of this game. So we start off by first seeing people in this reality that are non-player characters. You often heard the word NPC. These are non-player characters in our reality who just kind of live in cycles. They continually repeat things. They have their job. They really just do that every single day. They have the same sorts of things they talk about, the same sorts of hobbies and things that they get into. But what we see is that they are not really creating anything for themselves. They're not breaking outside of any kind of mold. So that's the non-player character. And that's what I would like to call kind of like the sheep-like mentality. So the next portion of this game oftentimes is like we feel like someone else is holding our controller and is controlling our role, our playing, our character here on this world. So we see that, it becomes to be kind of this time in our life when we really feel like we don't have much control. We feel like our parents are holding our controller. We feel like maybe society is holding the controller and, showing us where to go and telling us what to do. We feel like maybe our friends, our bosses, whoever it happens to be, it feels as if someone else is holding the controller in our own lives. And that can be a little bit disturbing. We're no longer that non-player character. We become a little bit aware of the fact that someone else has been holding that controller this whole time. And that becomes a little bit disturbing within our reality. We begin to see that there's certain limitations within this game. And as long as someone else is holding that controller and we believe that they're controlling us, it really keeps us quite limited. So whoever's been holding that controller, whether it's our parents, whether it's society, whether it's a friend, our spouse, our employer, whatever it happens to be, they have created this kind of reality for us to live as this non-player character in a certain way, with certain beliefs, with certain rules, with certain understandings of this reality, that until you become aware and conscious of that, you really don't break out of that. You totally believe with your whole heart some of these things that have been placed on you. So when we become aware that maybe someone is holding our controller and it becomes uncomfortable for us, and we begin to see that there are limitations on us and we begin to question those limitations, that's when we become kind of freer. So I'm going to be talking about that here today and how we can break free from that non-player character or from someone else holding our controller. So this game of life is really our game. We get to play it for ourselves. We do have free will. We don't have to subscribe to someone holding our controller. We don't have to subscribe to this non-player character that we're born into, that we've adopted, that we've accumulated all of this knowledge about and become this person. At any time, at any point, you can break free from that. You have some level of free will within this game. So if you do play video games and you know about that, you really know that, if you win the game, if you, break certain levels or move ahead in certain levels, you can go back to certain levels and they're kind of like jailbroken. If you win the whole game, you can literally go back into the different levels and you can just play without anybody attacking you, without anything happen to you. You literally have jailbroken that game. So I want to share with you that in this game of life, there is that same type of mentality, that same sort of arrangement. So if you break out of your beliefs, if you break out of this mold or this belief that there is someone controlling you, if you break out of any kind of programming that has been put on you, you can jailbreak this game and you can literally play it how you want with your own programming. So what you're going to notice about your own life is that you have some outdated programming within you. This program may have been adopted by, your upbringing. You adopted the programming of your parents. You adopted maybe the programming of their parents. And so it's a generational thing. You've adopted programming from the past. And a lot of that programming is really outdated for today's reality. When we look around at what we were taught and what the world is like today, it doesn't seem to go together. Many people try to fit the outdated programming in today's world, and it's very painful. It's very hard. It's trying to pull in the new reality and pull it back to the old. And it just doesn't work. It's very uncomfortable. It creates problems. It can even create wars and fights with people. When we allow ourselves to update our software, to update our programming to what is today or what we hope to be, then we begin to have hope. We begin to have a greater reality to explore. If we're going back to old programming, if we're going back to old software that we were taught, that came from the past, we begin to see it's very limiting. There's not much that we can do with it today. And we have seen that in today's reality, we have expanded into so much more, whether we're looking at technology, whether we're looking at science, math, whatever, psychology, spirituality. It has advanced, and it's somewhere totally different than what was talked about 100 years ago. So we have expanded, but if we're trying to stay with the mentality of 100 years ago today, it's going to be very painful, very hard, and you're going to experience a loop of suffering. So what we have to do is upgrade our software to what is in our hearts today, to what resonates today. So examine yourself. You have inner wisdom, you have an inner voice, whether you call that intuition, whether you call that spirit, whether you call that God, whether you call that whatever you want to call it. Words are words. So whatever you want to call what's within you, that is guiding you to the next step. See, what's within you is always trying to expand. It's infinite. It doesn't stop. It's an infinite knowing. It's an infinite development of our reality. We don't stay one way. You see, the magnificence of God, of spirit, is that it is never ending. And for something to be never ending, it's truly infinite. It wants to experience all aspects of life. So just like in a game, when you beat one level, all of a sudden you awaken to a new level, right? And the new level has like a new world, it has a new city, new weapons, new people in it. Every time you go up a level, there is a new, there's a new visual reality of it. There's a new understanding in that level. There's new rules in that level, and there's a new you in that level. And just like in those video games, our reality as humans is the same way. See, everything that you see, whether it's video games, movies, whatever you see, music, it's all mirroring to you what is our reality. So what you see in video games oftentimes will mirror what we see in our reality. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about here is viruses. Sometimes in our games, we get like a virus come in. We get something come into our programming, or we get something come in where it really throws us off. So viruses is what I'm seeing. Examine yourself. Do you have some sort of virus running in your system? Something that is telling you that you are not in control, that you're not the one with the controller. Is there some sort of virus in your system, whether it's a person, a narcissist, a psychopath, someone in your reality who's trying to take that away from you, take that controller away from you, who's trying to imprison you in some way or hold you back from your inner knowing? If there is any viruses in your system, just like a game, it's time to get those out. So you're being called today to get any viruses out of your system. So the other thing about games is oftentimes they do require us to upgrade ourselves. So just like we upgrade, when we move to a different level, sometimes we can change our clothing, the way that we look in the character. If you've played video games, this is how they are. We can change ourselves, suddenly we upgrade a level and now we have this new armor that we can put on ourselves. As you begin to grow, you will not remain the same person. So be willing and free to change yourself, to become more of who you are. You're not going to be the same person at every level. So be ready to expand, to grow into more as you go through your game. So today's message really is kind of equating these video games into this reality to bring you more awareness of what is happening here. The ultimate awareness that I want to share with you is the ultimate awareness of our higher self. So our higher self is the spirit within us, is that intuition, is that inner knowing that we have. And when we connect with that, we literally connect with an aspect of ourselves that knows this whole reality. So if you've ever played a video game and, maybe there is like codes or cheat codes, or, there's a way to like type something in and know everything about that game. Now, we don't want to play that game that way because it's no fun. We like to be the limited character for a while and beat those levels. And that's why we're in this human costume. That's why we're playing this game, because it's fun to go through these aspects of life and grow naturally how we should. But there is something within us that actually knows everything, that actually knows the whole game, that actually knows all of the cheat codes, that actually knows the next step, that actually knows what you have to do to beat that next level. And we don't necessarily have to tap into it to cheat and go, above everything and break free from this game, because that's no fun. But you do want to connect with your inner knowing, because your inner knowing is your intuition. And as long as you're just following that next step, that inner knowing already knows what that next step is. So you cannot go wrong when you begin to follow your inner self. So I would like you to know that there is the greatest thing within you is right here. And all you have to do is begin to follow your intuition, your inner knowing that knows everything. But play this game of life. Enjoy it. It's fun to be a human. It's fun to wake up every day. It's fun to create a life, to, build the things that we want here on this earth. So don't forget your human aspect, even as you connect to your higher self. Yes, you are greater than you think. You're actually greater than this whole game. This game is just a game that you've chosen to play with, but that's not who you are. Just like when you get ready to go play, your game on the computer or on your game system, you're not that game, are you? You just chosen to play that game for a little while, but you are not that game. So I hope that this message brought you some clarity, some pointers today to what is happening here in this reality. And again, it's no coincidence that you landed on this message. This message is meant to resonate with you. It's meant to expand you. It's meant to make you think about what is happening here. So I hope that this message found you well. Again, if you like this message, give me a thumbs up, a heart, comment down below, share this message with others so that others may get this message as well. If you are new here, I hope that you will subscribe. I hope that you will come back for more messages. And if you would like to connect with me, I have my links and all my information in the description and in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on our next message. I love you all.